Welcome to another very special Turnbuckle Trash Talk Interview Wednesday. I am here with one of the most underappreciated people in all of wrestling, and that is not a shoot insult on any particular company. I just want you to know how much this guy does for the wrestling business as a whole that you may not know of if you're just watching shows on YouTube or on Facebook. This is Austin.
Hey, everyone.
Austin works for Fest Wrestling. We're here at PBENT Wrestling. We just got done doing a show, and this man was the head of security for that show. He is just the guy behind the scenes that helps make so much of this work. He does the jobs that a lot of people don't realize need doing. Austin, tell the people about yourself.
Well, first of all, Kent, that was a very excellent introduction. I believe I didn't really deserve that kind of introduction, but I appreciate it.
It's true.
But yeah, so just finished up the show here at PBNT Wrestling. Debut show was fantastic. It was a great match. What was?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, let's start.
How did you get into wrestling? When did you first discover it? When did it come into your life?
I was a young kid in Wapakoneta, Ohio.
I know that place.
I know. I love you.
I lived in Michigan most of my life, and I drive up there every 3 months. So
See,
I pass through Wapakoneta plenty of times.
Every time I say that town, people look at me like, what is that town? But no.
It's amazing. It's great.
Very small town, great town. But I remember when I was a little kid, I came out to the living room one time, and my dad was watching pro wrestling. And I either sat down on his lap or I just plopped down and I started watching it. And it didn't really pique my interest, or I didn't really understand a whole bunch of it until I got a little bit older. Thank you over there. But I just remember vaguely just sitting down with my dad watching pro wrestling, and I was kind of hooked from then. So that was my introduction to it.
Was there a particular promotion or particular superstar or particular act that pulled you in? Was there something you found yourself? Like for me, for example, I was obviously a Hulk Hogan fan because in my formative years, he was the man. Mm-hmm. But also, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart as I got older. Who really caught your eye?
Well, once I really started to get older and understand a little bit of pro wrestling, I'm not saying like I understood the business at a young age, but one of my two favorite superstars, surprisingly, is good old John Bradshaw Layfield. I enjoyed a lot of his work. Now, since I'm a little bit older, going back and watching some of his stuff on, of course, WWE Network.
Seems like the one source, but YouTube is becoming a good source.
YouTube is also a great source. I will always live by this. Is one of my favorite matches from JBL. It was on SmackDown, and he went up against El Gran Torito, or I think that was his name.
Yeah, basically.
Basically a guy who was champion in Mexico, and just demolished him. And it had a good comedy to it. But he was a good favorite for me, just this arrogant, cocky guy. I'm this millionaire. I'm the wrestling god. I was like, I like that. I enjoy that. And next person was Fit Finlay, or Finlay in WWE. Just this tough guy. And every time I heard his theme song, My Name's Finlay and I Love to Fight, I was excited. I was ready. I knew whoever was in his way, they had something coming to him. And just those two guys alone got me hooked on pro wrestling.
So what got you interested in becoming a part of the wrestling business? Because some people can just get hooked as a fan and stay a fan. Mm-hmm. They're happy with that.
Yep.
But you decided to take it that one step further and get involved, not even right away as a wrestler. Some people are just like, well, I'm going to become a wrestler, and they go to training and then whatever.
Yep.
You're like, I just want to be a part of the business. So You're working, the backstage aspect and not getting all the recognition and all that stuff. What made you even want to even try to get into that?
So I call him my brother. I've known him ever since I moved down here. His name's Charles Volkert. He was just as much of a wrestling nerd as I am. And so he told me about this promotion in Gainesville, as you mentioned earlier, Fest Wrestling. I was like, oh, okay, got a show here in Gainesville. I'll go to it. And so the first show I went to, I was a fan, just sat there and watched. Mm-hmm. Good buddy of mine, Leon Scott, who wrestles a lot for Fest
We've had him on
Wrestling.
the show. We love Leon.
Had him on your show. Fantastic guy in the ring. What a lot of people doesn't know, that he could be a really great guy. So I started hanging around those two a lot, and it got me interested in Fest Wrestling. And so when I got with the promoter, Tony Weinbender, I told him, I was like, look, anything you need hand with, if you just need me to hang up streamers or something like that, let me know. I will be there to help. And as the show's gone on, I started gaining a little trust with him, and he was able to rely on me. And I became the head ring crew chief or guy right underneath Tony Stabil at Fest Wrestling. Started doing all that. And that's what really got me hooked. Fest Wrestling is technically my home when it comes to independent wrestling.
Well, Fest is a world of its own.
Oh,
They've
absolutely.
created this fanatic following. They have this unique atmosphere. It's just an entire thing, almost like I said, it's apart from the rest of wrestling, but it is a good introduction to wrestling as well. If you want to see
absolutely.
some of the very best, that's one of those places you want to go. I will put this disclaimer out there for anybody who's watching. That is a very dangerous offer to make to a promoter. You must really, really love this business to make that kind of offer, because it's so often that people will take advantage of somebody like that.
Exactly.
How have you kind of not, like, how have you risen above that?
So basically, my thing is, when the company first started back in 2016, the very first show I couldn't go to it because my brother told me, like, oh, you have to be this age to get in. And I'm like, well, okay. So I missed out on the first one, but the second one was at a different location. So I went to it, but then when we went back to the same place where the first show was held at, that's when I started going up to the promoter and I started talking to him. And from there on out, I've only missed 2 Fest Wrestling shows since 2016, and that's because I went to school, went to college. But from there on out, I was just always there. I showed up early, I stayed late, and I said, look, anything you need me to do, tell me to go do it. No questions asked, I'll get it done. Somehow, some way, I will get that done for you, just so it's less stress on you, because being a promoter has times of being stressful. So for him to kind of acknowledge me and realize that this kid's legit, I can trust him, he started giving me more responsibilities. And then once we got our own ring, I learned how to properly set it up, learned how to do all that. And then that's what showed him that I really cared and I'm here for the long run. So that's how I kind of risen above other people, and he appreciates everything I do. So
what's the end goal? This isn't a place that a lot of people would like to be stuck at forever.
Yeah.
There's got to be a next step. What's the next step for you?
So right now I go to college at Weber National University here in Florida, Babson Park or Lake Wales, whatever you want to call it. And my first, I'm going to call it passion, I bowl professionally. So I go to college for that. The men's team just won the 2019 national championship recently. So I think that's 11 national championships to her name. And so that's pretty cool. And for me, after I get done with college, that's when I'll start going to train. Like, yes, I could train now while I'm in college.
But you got priorities. You've prioritized this part, the education part.
Yep.
And I started training at 35 years old. So it's okay to wait a couple years, especially in your youth like that. But I get the also desire to get started as soon as possible.
Yes.
But I do say that is very admirable that you can say to yourself, I know what I want to get done now, and I know what I want to do next. Especially considering your age, like I said, that is a rare quality. So please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
And so the biggest thing, I can just hear my dad in the back of my head every time I'm in class, get your damn education. Because he would tell me that for years. And he goes, once you get your education, then you can do other things. You can settle down for, a relationship. You get a good job. But he just says, get your education first before anything. So that's just a big thing. And so after college, when I start to train, whether it's Team 3D's camp, which is an excellent academy training place to be at, or was that 2.0 is somewhere in Tampa, I believe.
Yep.
Another great school. But then if I'm not athletically good in the ring as what I believe I am or what I could be, I can train to be a referee like your such, Tony Stabil, and just do all that. And if somehow, some way I suck at being a referee, I'm still going to be a part of this business.
That's true.
Whether in the, taking a big leap of faith of running my own promotion, I definitely would want to relocate other than, the South. Like, yes, Florida's good. It has good territories inside or towns here.
But I mean, you could swing a cat and hit 5 promotions in Florida. Like,
yeah, like
that's the lowest advice I would give to somebody is start a promotion in Florida. I would say try somewhere else because Florida, they just come and go so frequently that it's like.
And it's just you got promotion after promotion after promotion, and it's like if I was to start one here in Florida, my main goal is how can I compete with some of the lower end companies?
Mm-hmm.
How can I compete and either be better than them? How can I do that when there's like so many promotions here? So if I can relocate somewhere either up north or out to the East Coast, West Coast, try to get a different feel for it, get a different audience, get a different vibe, and that's what I feel like I can really strive at. So yeah, if athletically I'm not good in the ring, starting a promotion will be the end goal. Being the best damn promoter I could possibly be and running the best independent shows.
So it just sounds like you're like, I'm going to be in wrestling.
Yes.
Somehow, some way, I'm going to be in wrestling, and that's the end goal. So what are you going to school for?
So I am currently studying sports business management. So
Perfect. It transitions perfectly.
Yes, sports.
I'm sure there's plenty of promoters who wish they had studied sports business management.
And I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, now since I took a marketing class, I know how to bring in all these consumers. I know
No,
this.
of course not.
No, like it's opening my eyes. And every college paper or project that I had to do, it would be somewhere around wrestling. Like, yes, you would think, oh, I'm going to college for bowling. Why don't I do bowling? Well, wrestling is just something that it's natural to me. Bowling, yes, it's another natural feeling to me, but I just wouldn't have as much strive to do something, if it's not wrestling. So
what's been the most challenging part of being involved with wrestling for you? Because some people it's, the long hours or obviously the wrestling and the physical toll it takes on the body. But you're kind of in a unique position from anyone else I've talked to. I've talked to referees, I've talked to ring announcers, and I've talked to wrestlers. But you're this backstage persona. What have you found to be the most challenging part of what you do?
For me, it's just, I'm going to do the generic thing for me. It's just making sure the ring is set up, the ropes are, right where they need to be, because anything can happen during the show. And then when something does happen, who do they look at? They look at the people who set it up. They look at me, they start pointing fingers like, why did this happen? So I put this little extra, stress on me to make sure it's perfect for the performers in the ring, making them safe inside that squared circle. That's just been my biggest thing. That's where I feel like I'm logging in the most hours. But after that, it's just the little pieces leading up to the show. Like for Fest Wrestling, if we do one of our last few shows, it was the Hardcore Hunt.
Yeah.
We had all these eggs, and so we just, okay, we have to.
Like I said, unique environment.
Yes.
You don't see anything like Fest anywhere else.
If any other Fest wrestler or anybody from that company has never told you, check out their stuff. Go on YouTube, Fest Wrestling. Hardcore Hunt matches are fantastic.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yes, but it's just doing the small stuff like that, preparing the props, making sure we got enough, foreign objects under the ring for the performers, making sure that, the workers don't get hurt by anyone in the audience.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's what I look at. And I try to make sure they're safe, even though they could probably rough up everyone inside the venue.
That's true.
I still want to have them feel like I'm comfortable working here and I'm comfortable being at this place because I know I'm being taken care of. So
now, you didn't give yourself the title, the most underappreciated man in
Yeah.
wrestling. I put that on you because I truly believe that to be the case. How do you feel about that? Like, do you actually believe that in any capacity? I mean, I'm not trying to get any heat with promoters or anything, but like, it's got to be really difficult because you do not get the recognition that wrestlers will get, or even promoters. Because promoters get recognition from wrestlers.
Yes.
Wrestlers get recognition from fans. Like, there's a ladder effect of attention there. And you get, like, people in your position, and sometimes in my position, don't get that kind of recognition, and how does that feel? And does that just inspire or motivate you, or do you find that to be kind of a challenge and something you have to overcome?
Well, ever since, when I really started bowling a lot of tournaments, being competitive, and once I really started winning a lot, doing youth tournaments around Florida, I've just always been humble. If it's a really big win, I'll do a small post or appreciation post to myself. I bowled great, I did this, I did that. But if I have the promoter or, a wrestler after a certain thing, they'd say, hey, good job out there, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
Because even though they won't go into details on how much they really appreciate me, I don't really take offense if, no one tells me hey, great job out there. Or,
They do. You've made an impact whether they know it or not.
Yes, I know that they appreciate everything I do, and they always pay me back some way or another.
Well, and that's such an admirable quality too, because it's really hard sometimes to just be okay with just taking pride in your work.
Mm-hmm.
You need that outside recognition sometimes to really feel validated. But you're saying basically I know I did a good job. I know I gave it my all, and that's enough.
Yes. So I'm not the kind of person that's hey, I did a great job. I need you to compliment me. I need you to tell me great job or you appreciate me. No, I'm doing you guys a favor and you're giving me a favor back. You're supplying me a place to where I feel welcome. I'm having a lot of fun. So it's not like I don't have fun doing my job. I'm going to call it a job for right now. But I just sit back for the ride, I do everything that's needed of me, and I'm okay with that. If someone tells me great job, fantastic. If not, it is what it is.
So I'm going to wrap up by asking you two questions that I ask everybody on every interview. Number one, if you could give a piece of advice to somebody who wants to get involved with wrestling, even if it's in a backstage role, what would you tell them?
Well, the biggest thing, we'll start out with the backstage because that's my main priority. If you're wanting to get behind the scenes and kind of understand a little bit of the business, how a promotion can run, what the necessary tools are to make sure the event happens, find a couple people that if they're wrestlers, if they're referees, promoters, cling to them and just be there all the time. If you're a fan who's trying to get into it, try to find the promoter and say, hey, I'm interested in helping you guys out. If there's anything I can do, let me know. And if they say, all right, we'll keep in touch, that's great. Good job. If they blow you off, they blow you off. It happens. It happens.
Not great, but it happens.
Yes, just show up, make yourself known, and let them know that you're willing to work and that you're willing to help them out. And that was my biggest thing. I always let Tony know, Winebender, that I'm here for you, man. And no matter what.
Well, and you follow through on that, too.
Yes.
You don't just say, oh, I'm here and I'll do anything you need. When they need something, you do it.
Yeah.
No matter how difficult or strenuous or, maybe even degrading it might be, you follow through and you say, well, I made that offer. I'm going to stick to that offer.
Yeah, you can't blow smoke up their behinds and not back it up.
For sure.
That's giving you a bad rep, if you try to go anywhere else. Word gets around, believe it or not, and they'll hear about how you're not really following through with what you're promising or anything like that. So,
my final question, this is the one I put people on the spot with.
all right.
If you could change one thing in wrestling, one thing overall, could be backstage, could be in the ring, could be audience perception, could be promoters, could be anything, what would it be?
The fans. Let me tell you the specific thing about the fans. Back, if we're going to date back from either the 80s to the 90s where internet really wasn't a big deal, fans did not know inside scoop unless they worked for the company or if they knew someone who has that vital information. They didn't know anything. So everything was a surprise and everything was great. But now, since social media is such a big thing and it's a big platform, I can know certain things that I probably shouldn't know, and it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
And the fans need to stop worrying about the business aspect of it if they're not involved. If you're not a part of it, don't worry about it. Enjoy pro wrestling, and if the product sucks, okay, that's fine. Find something else. But don't know everything about, the company or the business backstage wise, because it ruins the fun out of it.
Yeah,
it takes
absolutely.
all the excitement and all the enjoyment out of watching pro wrestling, and that's just what infuriates me the most is people want to think they know everything, but when they go out and they say stuff on social media and it's not true, well, you look like an idiot.
It's true.
Just leave that to the real professionals. Leave that to whoever in the company. Just don't worry about it. That's one thing I would change, is the fans wanting to know everything when they really shouldn't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anything backstage-wise.
Now I want to give you a chance to promote anything you want to promote. Plug yourself, plug Fest, plug anything. Go.
All right. So first things first, Fest Wrestling. Follow them on Instagram at Fest Wrestling. Check them out on Facebook. They post a lot of stuff. You can catch their events. Go on their YouTube. Fest Wrestling has all their a majority of the matches on there. You can follow me on social media at Instagram at Ayeitsastino, AYEITSAUSTINO. I'll accept your request. I'll follow you back. Let's have a party. Let's see who else. Listen to this guy's podcast. This guy's fantastic. Turnbuckle Trash Talk. It's fantastic. I have the sticker on my hat now. Never taken it off. So, yeah.
Well, and seriously, back at you. Reach out to this guy. If you're a promoter and you need a guy who's going to get shit done, I'm not even pulling punches on this one. Get shit done. Reach out to this guy. Offer him some money. He does what he does for free most of the time, and he deserves to get paid. That's what I mean by underappreciated. Your show will run without a squeaky wheel if you get this guy on your show and give him just a little bit of money. Make him feel appreciated. Make him realize just how vital he is to your promotion. So reach out to him. And guys, thank you so much for watching this special interview Wednesday. We really appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks
for joining
having me, partner, man. It was great.